Okay, so we're going live again on a Facebook Live. This is Richard from Teaching Aero Yoga. We're just going to wait for people to arrive and sign in. So if we just, if you arrive and you've got an empty screen, just get in your swing, get ready for the class. We'll give everybody a few minutes just to sign on. Agony is in the house. So welcome to you all. I can see a few people have signed in to watch this week's class. Hello to any of you that I know from the past and from London, working in the UK. What I thought we'd do today is we'd do like a kind of like a progressive leg class. So we start off with quite mild leg stretches and we work up to more intense leg stretches. We'll work up to attempting like our version of the splits. Yeah, not necessarily doing the splits, but your kind of best version of the splits. But we want to warm up for this experience. And the reason that I'm doing it really is that I was watching some videos recently online, and it was supposed to be like a leg sequence. And I think the first kind of serious leg stretch was like standing splits, you know, and I was just thinking to myself, you know, I have above average kind of strength and flexibility, and I'm really kind of, this is not feeling good to go straight into this for me, and I just think sometimes people teaching aerial yoga just don't have much of an appreciation of what kind of less athletic people might be able to do, you know, they don't appreciate how kind of gymnastic they perhaps are themselves, you know. So I wanted to do something that was a bit more accessible, a bit more kind of safe. So we'll start, we'll just do a few little warm-ups from here. So we've got the swing just below hip height. I've got the handles on. If you're working without handles, it's fine, you can adapt a lot of this stuff. Instead of using the handles, you would just, you know, grab hold of the swing and adapt it like that. Or even if you've got these like straps, sometimes I just use the straps to give me a bit more balance if you happen to have adjusting straps on. But even if you're working with an anti-gravity style swing or hammock as they're often called, you can adapt a lot of this. So, you know, do your best, really, do your best. So we'll do some leaning in to begin with. We're just going to get the forearms in. I'm just going to bob my swing a tiny bit higher. But it's still kind of here, my navel is here. Top of my legs, it's against the top of the legs, yeah? So we're going to just lean in with the forearms, got the forearms in. Actually, no, yeah, lean in with the forearms and bring the chest through, like we did last week. We're just going to do a little bit of marching on the spot. And then I might keep the legs straight and do a little bit of swaying side to side. Now to do this, I am drawing the belly and the middle of the body in, so I'm not, it's kind of tempting to just kind of hang in the swing, but you know, obviously you lose your alignment when you do that. So try pushing the forearms in, and the forearms by pushing the forearms against the material, you'll get some extension through your spine. You'll lengthen the spine just by doing that. So we do a little bit of this. And then I think we'll go as far back as we can. So I've got the feet about hip width apart, and I'm bringing the hips further back than the heels. So I'm feeling a little bit of a pull on my hamstrings. If you're not, you could always step your feet a little bit further forwards. Yeah. And I'm going to push to this front position, lifting the heels, and then I'm going to pull back, bring my hips further back than my ankles. We'll do this a few times. When I come back this time, I'm kind of instinctively just lifting the toes off the floor, so I'm going to get a slightly deeper pulling of the hamstrings. Yeah? You can also do a little bit of kind of hip swaying. What would you call this? Hip swaying, wiggling maybe. A bit of wiggling of the hips. It's just a nice little way of loosening the top of the legs, isn't it? The hip area. Back and forth. And then I'm going to do a little bit of circling. So I'm not going to go massive with the circling. I'm just doing a small circling movement. You could, if it feels okay for you and you have the space, you could go a little bit bigger. It's one of those moves you want to customize to your own comfort. So it shouldn't feel uncomfortable in your knees when you're doing this movement. Yeah? So I'll do a few in each direction. We're going to get into the legs and also the shoulders a little bit. So we're going to extend the arms ahead of us, keeping the head free of the swing. So the head comes down level with between your sort of biceps. And I'm keeping the feet hip width apart. I'm pressing the palms together, and I'm just going to lean myself forwards and then pull myself back. So I'm leaning forwards. And then I'm pulling back into my heels, leaning forwards into my toes, and back into my heels. And after a few repetitions, you might find that you want to maybe lift your heels a little bit off the floor, get slightly deeper opening for your chest and shoulders. Or you might find that you don't, and you should always, especially these kind of classes where I can't see you, you should always be listening to your own kind of internal feedback, isn't it? What's your body saying to you? Is that a good idea to lift your heels when you come forwards, or is it not? Now when we come back, I want you to bend your knees and try curling your spine. In fact, bend your elbows so your fingers are now facing up in a prayer posture, and pull your elbows down into the swing material, tuck your chin in, and just do your best to round your spine from here. And hold this for a few breaths. So I even lifted the toes off the floor. I'm pushing the heels down into the ground, and I'm really pulling the elbows down into the swing to help me hold the sort of rounded spine position. I'm keeping my arms like this. I'm going to lean forwards again, straightening my legs. Possibly lifting my heels a little bit. And then I'm going to pull back into this kind of cat stretch, rounding the spine, lifting the toes, bending the knees. And I'm going to make this my movement for the next 6 to 8 breaths. Okay, just going to pause now. I don't have Agni helping me this week, she's busy working upstairs. So I don't know that the audio is working, so if you're having trouble with the audio, can you let me know, send me a message, and I'll be able to check it. Okay, so I'm assuming the audio is good, right. Now we're going to start to do slightly deeper stretches for the legs. I'm going to stand behind the swing, which can make it a bit hard to see. So let me just show you the first one. Putting the lower leg in, so that's the heel to the calf, just to the back of the knee. I'll turn to the side. So we're going to have the lower leg in, and we're going to lean ourselves back and forth a few times. And then the next leg opener, we just let the knee drop out to the side. So we get this kind of right angle, this bent leg. Yeah? So it'll be easier, be a bit harder to see when I'm around the other side. So if I just come back, straight leg, right leg, I'm using the straps to help me stabilise. If you don't have straps, you could be using the swing, like this. And I'm going to lean forwards, keeping my back heel down. So lean forwards, exhaling, and then I pull back to the start position. So lean forwards, and then back. Keeping my left heel on the ground and not lifting my left heel up. And then I'm going to come forwards, holding the position, feeling that stretch on the back of the right leg. And for some of you, you might want to just bring your chest a little bit further through without bending your supporting leg. So your supporting leg should feel very strong, like it's working hard to maintain the posture. Your arms are out to the side to help you stabilize, and you're pulling the right heel down into the swing material, which also helps you to stabilize. You're not rounding your spine, you're not bending your back leg. If you find that's happening, chances are you're going too deeply into the stretch right now. So pull back a little bit. Now we're going to come back to the start position. We're just going to now bend the knee out to the side, like I showed you from the side. Bend the knee out to the side, about a 90-degree angle with your leg here, right leg, and you're going to lean yourself back and forth. Exhaling forwards, inhaling back. And then we'll come forwards again, leaning forwards, keep your left heel on the floor, and just like with the hamstring stretch, possibly coming a little bit lower down without bending your spine. It's coming a little bit further forwards, leading with your chest, stabilizing with your arms. Okay, so we've gently opened up the hip. We're going to now get into the inner thigh. So if I just hop out to the side, so I can show you this. We're going to turn, come into like a one-legged squat and lean into your left thigh. So you're from this front position, turn to the side, bend your left knee and start to lean into that left thigh. Try not to let your right toes turn to the side. Try and keep those toes facing straight up. Okay? And then the final one we're going to do is we're just going to drop the toes through. So drop your right toes completely through. Turn away from your swing. So you're completely facing away. Completely facing away from your swing with your right knee out. And use your handles or your straps to just control the movement. Just do this little like a curtsy. Just do this curtsy movement. And then reach behind you, take your right foot out the swing. You might want to shake out your left leg a little bit or march it out because you've been, supporting yourself on that leg for quite a while. And then we'll go and do that same sequence on your left leg. So first we get the lower leg in. We lean ourselves back and forth 5 times. Back and forth 5 times. And then forwards and possibly bringing the chest a little bit further through. The right heel stays on the floor. Pull the swing down, let the left knee drop out to the side. If you're feeling any discomfort in your left knee, get it inside the swing, give it a bit more support. Otherwise, let it hang out to the side so that your hip can open more freely to your left. And then with the leg in this position, we're just going to lean ourselves back and forth again. Forwards and hold, and again, bringing the chest through if that's the right thing to do for you. The spine stays long, back leg stays straight. The arms are helping you stay as stable, as still as you can. Coming back up, left leg goes forwards, right foot turns to the side, so directly to the side and then probably a little bit further, so towards the back of the room. So that when you bend your knee, your right knee is not collapsing in, your right knee is tracking over your right ankle, and principally you're going to be feeling the stretch on the inside of your left thigh. That's it. So you can sink down into that. Remember not to let those left toes roll out to the side, keep them facing 12 o'clock. If it's painful or uncomfortable, don't go so low into the posture, don't sink so low. Yeah. Continuing to turn around, bending the left knee, taking the bottom handles, and we're doing a little curtsy movement. Just to show you that from the side. We'll curtsy a few times. Taking out the left leg to a little bit of a march on the spot. Round to the front of your swing. We're going to use the third handles now for this next part of the sequence, but if you don't have handles, you could, for some of this, you could just hook your arms through your swing, and you could either hold the swing with your elbows or you could hold the swing with your hands. Yeah? So you should be able to adapt whatever the equipment you've got is. So handles, nice and wide. You want to feel the inner thighs working and the back of the thighs working. So you're nice and wide. And we use the arms to help us balance, so we lean forwards. And then if you need to, you can slide your hands out to the side, bring your chest a little bit closer to the floor. So it's like a Prasarita Padottanasana, wide forward bend. Let's hold it for a few breaths. Coming back, and we're back to upright. We'll walk the feet a little bit closer together. I'm going to transfer to the second handles, the middle handles. And I'm going to place the arms through, so I'm not gripping, I'm resting, because I don't want to be pulling or arms and the hands all the time. Sometimes I want to be a bit more passive. So this is one way you can be quite passive with your arms. You can just rest them. We're coming into a squat, or like a goddess position. It's important when you do this that you're not rolling the shoulders forwards. So if you go a bit wide with your feet, the tendency is to start collapsing forwards. So have a little look that your shoulders are over your hips, that you're not too wide in this. You can go as wide as you're comfortable in, but not too wide, yeah? And then just sink yourself down until you start to feel this around your thighs and your hips. Yeah, maybe a little shimmy. Might feel good, a little shimmy. The arms, quite relaxed, quite passive. And maybe sink a little bit lower for the final few breaths. Push outwards into the little toe side of your foot. Straighten those legs, take the handles, bring yourself back. Third handles again. Again, if you're not using handles, slip your arms through the swing for this one. We're going to do left leg forwards, so Parshvattanasana we're going to do. So like a walking pace with your feet. Take your arms out, so the hands go directly out at shoulder height, and you bend the elbows into these right angled shapes. And then just bring yourself into a forward bend over your left leg. Again, you customise your base. You might want to go a little bit wider, so you can come down a bit lower with your chest. Try to push back into the right heel. So push back into the right heel and just try to roll that right hip around. Push into the hands, and we're just going to come up and scissor the legs. So we swap into the right leg forwards this time, and then we slowly, as we exhale, come down into the forward bend over the right leg. Come back up. We're going to stay on the third handles and step the legs out wide again. Toes facing outwards, because we're going to transfer the weight. We're going to go a little bit side to side, getting into the hips and the groin. Yeah, so what we're going to do, really not think about this too much, just bring yourself down and have a little bit of a freestyle with this movement. A little bit of playing about, a little bit of creativity. Just allowing the body to move with a focus on your hips and your thighs, lower back. And then slowly rolling yourself back up. You can bring your hands back to just in front of your hips, the top of your hips. Bend your knees, ready to push down into your handles and jump yourself back to the centre of your mat. We're going to take a step to the back of the swing again. And we're going to do another round of hamstrings, hips, adductors and quads. So the same sequence we did from behind before. So we put the lower right leg in. This time, because we're warmer, because the point is this is progressive, isn't it? We're not just going straight into splits, we're actually giving our body a bit of a heads up of where we're heading. So this time it will be a bit more intense, or it can be, should you choose. So to make the hamstring stretch a bit more intense, you can lift your back heel off the floor, push your right foot forwards, using your arms again to help you balance as you bring your chest a little bit further through without losing the length in your spine. So lead with your chest. That's it. That back leg is really strong. That right heel is pulling down into the swing. We're going to return, bring the left heel down, bob your right knee out to the side, and this time you can come, you can lift your back heel off the floor, you can bring yourself, so that's not great actually. Let's do this, let's climb through, so hop forwards, climb through the swing, and then lean back, and let's just open the hip and lower back this way. And then we can hop back a little bit, hop back a few inches, straighten the right leg, turn the left leg out to the side, or maybe slightly further, left foot out, slightly further. This time, instead of bending the left knee, we'll keep both legs straight, and we'll just lean into the swing so we feel that in our groin. If you're feeling discomfort around your left knee at this point, I would come back and do the squat version of this. If you're okay, straight legs, hold the swing or hold a handle for stability, and just let yourself lean into that. Bob your toes through, let the knee bend, turn away from the swing. This time, let your right knee drop as low as you are comfortable with, so it can go further back this time, more of a quad stretch. It's a bit hard to show you from the side, but rather than being, last time we were kind of smaller movements, this time we're going to push it back as far as you're comfortable with. Again, using the handles for stability to help you be stable in the posture. Then we can bring the right leg out now. You might want to just do a little march or a little shake of your supporting leg. Do that same sequence again over the left leg. So first of all, get the lower leg inside, lift your right heel off the floor, lean forwards into this stretch. Now remember what we said at the beginning, you are the teacher, isn't it? How it feels for your body is the most important thing. So at this point, if you've lifted your back heel and you know the posture's not feeling good, you're unstable, you're struggling to breathe, bring your back heel down and do a milder version of the same stretch. Yeah? So there's always an option, but the option should never be to asphyxiate yourself by stopping breathing. That's a classic sign, isn't it, that your body is saying no to what you're trying to make it do. Yeah? So choose the right version for you, is what I'm saying. Bringing the right heel down, turning the left knee out to the side, take a little hop forwards, climb through, and then lean back, give the hip a little rock. You might find that just climbing through is enough for you. You know, that might be fine for you, getting into your hip. Other people might want to lean back a bit more. And then coming down into a curtsy, jumping back, bringing the arms back through the swing, keeping that leg in, turning to the side, so the right foot turns out towards the side or the back of the room, and you're going to lean into your swing. Coming back to the start position, turning completely away from the swing now, using the handles for stability, dropping the left knee down and back, so you feel the front of that left thigh is opening and holding the position there. Okay, so taking the left leg out, and we are now going to go into the downward dog sequence of the class. It's important that your swing isn't too high. If it's too high and presses against your belly and your bladder in particular, it's not going to be very comfortable. Yeah? So it needs to be on the top of the thighs so that you can do a downward dog that doesn't involve your feet lifting off the floor. Yeah? It's okay if some of the foot is off the floor, as long as you have enough foot down to control the stability of the posture. Yeah? So you don't have to have your heels down, but you do have to be in control and be stable. Now this swing is too high for me, so I'm going to bring it down just on one side, because it just needs a tweak. Now obviously from experience I know the kind of right level for me, so it just needs to come down on one side, and now you can see my navel is here, my hip bone is there, so it comes across the hip bone and across the top of the thighs. Yeah? At this level should be fine for a downward dog. So that downward dog is much better for me. Yeah. Even you can see my heels are not on the floor, that's not really the point. I can control the position, so you get into the right, you set your swing to the right height for you, and what we're going to do initially is we're not going to do downward dog straight away, we're going to do what we call floppy fold. Yeah? So floppy fold, you walk into the swing till you feel it's pulling you back a little bit, it's like you're hanging, you know, like you're looking over the edge of a cliff, and then you fold forwards. So your feet are about hip width apart. Relax your back. Maybe give the hips a little sway. And just try and find the center of the feet. I'm going to push into the floor with my hands. I'm going to slowly roll myself back onto standing. I know from experience of teaching many people aero yoga for many years that this can be quite uncomfortable. Some people just can't seem to make friends with this position. You could try a blanket over the swing if you're really struggling, it's unbearable for you. Try just folding a blanket across the swing, gives you a bit more padding. Yeah, that's one option for you. The other issue is sometimes people just have it too high, so make sure it's not on your belly. Yeah. Now we're going to do classic downward dog. So again, we pull it into ourselves, we walk forwards, bring the hands down, walk the feet back until you're in a downward dog position. I'm sure everybody knows downward facing dog. So we're going to just bring ourselves into that. We might try a twisted version, so if you bring your right hand, I would just bring the right hand sort of through to the left side, resting on the back of the right hand and turning this into a twist. Some of you might want to grab the outside of your left leg if you feel better doing that than you could. I'm just going to bring my arm through, a little bit like threading the needle. I'm going to come back again to downward dog. I'm just going to look down between the hands for a couple of breaths. And then as I exhale, I'm going to bring the left arm through behind the right, and I'm going to start to twist my spine towards the right side. I'm going to come forwards, I'm lifting the head slightly, and what I'm going to do now is some wrist stretches. So hopefully you can see the hand. I'm basically going to turn my hand around so my fingers are facing back towards me. Now I've lifted my feet off the floor. You could also have your feet down, might feel a bit safer if you have your feet down. Fingers facing back towards you now, and it's quite a strong wrist stretch. You might do some little micro movements, just a little bit of rocking if that's not uncomfortable for you, a little bit of side to side rocking. And then I'm going to turn the hands back the normal direction. I'm going to try another wrist stretch, which involves coming onto the back of the hands, facing the fingers inwards. So I'm onto the back of the hands, my fingers now facing towards the middle of the mat. Yeah, if you find that's uncomfortable, you should come straight out of that. I'm okay with it, so I'm going to use the motion of the swing to just help me roll the weight backwards and forwards across the wrist. And then I'm going to turn my hands back around to the normal direction. I'm going to walk forwards and I'm going to slowly come back up. We're just going to do one final leg stretch from downward dog. I'm just giving your legs a bit of a break from being against the swing for too long. Now the difference with this one is we're going to wrap our legs around the swing, or we're going to wrap one of our legs around the swing. Let me show you what I mean. It's easier if you lift both legs up and then go round the outside and back in. Don't go through the inside and out. You have to go wide and back around. Yeah? Then we're going to bring, in this instance, the right leg to the floor, including the heel, and we're going to hold the stretch there. For some of you, you might come a bit further forwards with your right foot and get a more intense hamstring stretch. If you're very mobile, you could start to straighten the back leg as well at the same time. Yeah? But the first thing we're going to do is just come safely into the position. So if you come into your downward facing dog on the top of the thighs, hands in front of you, so you're in a downward dog. Lift both of your feet off the floor and then take your left foot out and around the swing. Then we want to try and bring the right foot, including the heel, to the floor. So you might want to bring the right foot further forwards to do that. You can bring the foot as close to the hands as you are comfortable with. You're customizing the stretch, but you want to have the right heel down. And those of you, if there's people watching with very mobile hamstrings, then you would start straightening your left leg. So you push against the swing with the left toes and you'd start to straighten the left leg. But for most people that's not necessarily very accessible or practical. So you would focus on keeping the supporting leg straight and just getting the foot a little bit closer to the hands if you need to intensify the stretch. Now rock it forwards, so if you start to walk forwards from here, and then change legs. So right leg goes in, left leg comes down. Walk the left foot forwards until you feel a stretch. You might want to come up until you sort of make fists with your hands, or slightly lift the palm. I'd rather make fists, I have to say. The other thing you need to watch out for is there'll be a tendency for your right hip to swing out to the side. So bring the inside of the thighs towards each other. Try and find the centre of your left foot to bounce over. Okay, that's quite intense, so we'll bring the right foot down, we'll slowly roll ourselves up to standing. Going to do some supported lunging now, so to do this, if possible for you, bring your swing down to knee height, so maybe just slightly above your knee is okay. So there's my knee, and the swing is slightly above the knee. If you're not able to lower your swings, then don't worry, you can try with the swing at hip height, but you're going to have to be careful with the knees in particular, the knee that's been supported in the swing. It's going to be a deeper stretch for you. Yeah, so you be careful if you can't lower your swing. What we're going to do here is we'll put the right lower leg in. So we want to get the right knee inside. The toes, the ankle can be out, the ankle doesn't have to be in. We want the right knee to be in. And then we're going to use the bottom handles to support us as we push ourselves back. And push ourselves back. So this is kind of what you were doing in the downward dog position, but it's a little bit easier for you to support yourself in this position. You might also bring your chest a little bit closer to your left leg. That's another option for you, potentially. Or if that's if you're feeling a bit tender, a bit stiff in that area, then you just keep you don't have to straighten your left leg, you can keep bending the knee and just push back. Okay, now what we're going to try and do now is we're going to walk the left foot, so bend the left knee again, walk the left foot out to the side a few inches and let go with the right hand, bring the right hand down to the floor. Again, you might need to make a fist, so you're balancing on a fist rather than lifting the heel of the hand. So if you find that you're lifting the heel of the hand, try making a fist, plant the fist, and begin to turn towards your left leg. So just start to get some rotation in the top of the spine. I mean, you can do the top arm if you want, but most people, when I see them doing that, they're overdoing it. Yeah. So just focus on extension and then a little bit of twisting towards your left leg. Be careful not to let the left knee collapse inwards. So the knee stays over the ankle and in line with the hip. That's it. You might start to straighten your right leg a little bit more, push back perhaps, start to lean back a little bit more. Okay, and then we're going to lose the twist, bring both hands to the inside of the right foot, left foot. Walk the left foot out to the side again, a little bit more so we can get both hands down to the inside of your left foot. And again, you might lean back slightly, some of you. You might start to push back. That might be a good feeling for you. And then finally, we're going to bring the left knee out of the, right knee out of the swing. Let the right knee drop towards the floor. So like that. And we're going to bring, you might be able to bring your forearms down to the floor, I don't know, your own flexibility, but either forearms or hands. And just let the right knee drop towards the floor. Again, be careful if you've got your swing higher at this point, if you're not able to lower your swing, you might want to be very careful with this particular posture and miss it out. And now turn around and take your right foot out of the swing, bring yourself up to standing. Again, you might want to just give that left hip a bit of a march before you change to your right leg. Left leg. Going to go inside. Good in the knee. Take hold of your handles. And just begin to push back. See where the point of resistance for you is. Yeah. I don't like this kind of go to your edge kind of instructions. It's like you're forcing, you're trying to attain things all the time. I just want you to enjoy it. So you might find this is a lovely stretch for you here. But some of you might want to just push back, come a little bit lower. And you hopefully all getting the same feeling of it just being a pleasant thing to do with your body. You're breathing, you're stretching, you're feeling, you're doing something good for your body. You're not ignoring your body. So wherever that is for you, come into that position. And then we're going to bring the left hand down to the floor, walk the right foot out a few inches. And mainly we do that because there's a tendency for the supporting leg to roll inwards if you're not careful. So if you just walk your supporting foot out and focus on not collapsing that leg. Use the fist on the floor to help you extend out of the swing with the spine, and then just begin to twist towards, in this instance, your right side. Now, turn the chest to face the floor again, walk the foot out a further few inches, and bring the hands, or even for some of you maybe the forearms, to the floor. Staying in this position, again keeping the spine long. I'm also extending my back leg, so I'm pushing the ankle into the swing material, and I'm even stretching back a couple of inches, pushing back. And the reason I'm doing that is because it feels good. It feels like my body wants to do that. Now I'm bringing the weight forwards a few inches, and I'm taking the left knee out of the swing. It's going to drop down towards the floor, and I'm going to come down onto forearms or hands. And I'm going to maybe push back again because it's quite comfortable for me to push back. And then forwards, release, come up, a little bit of a march. I'm going to take the handles off for the next one, so just make it a bit cleaner to look at. So when we do splits in classes, or when you try to do Hanumanasana, often you will have blocks out to the side, so you can, the idea being that you support some of your body weight with the hands against the block, so you're not dropping so low into it that you injure yourself. Yeah? We're not going to use blocks because we have the swing, so we can actually reach up and take some of our body weight using our arms. Pardon me, but it's the same principle, isn't it? It's to avoid you dropping too low into your splits posture. Yeah? So that's the thing to be mindful of when you're doing this, that you don't just drop into it, that you ease yourself into the stretch and take a lot of the weight in the arms when you're doing it. Yeah? So what we'll do is we'll wear the swing like a jacket, and I'm kind of underneath the plumb line, so my head is underneath where the swing is coming from. I'm going to take, first of all, I'm going to slide my left knee and foot backwards until I feel that pulling on the front of my left thigh and my hip flexors. So I've slid that leg back, and then I'm going to come onto my heel, and that's it for me. I'm just going to, my heel might come a little bit further forwards if you can see it, but this is pretty much my version of the splits. I'm supporting my weight with my arms. Checking that my shoulders are square. I'm breathing deeply. I'm not feeling any strain on the left knee or the right knee. Holding the position. I would hold the position as long as you want, actually, and bring yourself out before me. If you want to come out before me, I'm going to hold it for a little bit longer. In fact, as it takes a while to get here, particularly for me, I'm going to pull it back, change sides. I'm going to do 2 on each side, I think. Let's do 2 on each side. So we're going to bring your left foot forwards. Big lunge forwards. Slide your right knee back till you feel the thigh and hip flexors stretching. Yeah. And then come a little bit higher. Come onto your left heel. That's it, and that's your position, isn't it? Now, some of you might have your thighs on the floor, you might be, splits might be a great position for you. Others are going to be higher, like me. But it really is, it's a wonderful hamstring stretch. It always makes me feel very calm, I have to say. Except if I tried to do it first thing in the class, then it wouldn't make me feel calm at all. It would vex me, wouldn't it, and maybe injure me. But we've kind of built up to this position, which is why we're going to do it twice. pulling back. And before I actually do the splits on the other side, what I think I might do is this position. Right leg forwards. I'm sitting on my left heel. You could potentially use your swing. You could use your swing to help you stabilise. Come into a little forward fold over your right leg. I prefer to just use my right hand to help me stay level in my hips, because my right hip is not on the floor, so I'm a bit unstable. So if I use the right hand against the floor, then I've got the stability, and then I can just inch forwards into a forward fold. Reverse it, so we're going the right foot back. We're going to sit on the right heel. Left heel comes forwards. Again, I'm using the left hand to help me stay square in my hips. Toes are flexing back. Got a bit of shaking going on in my left leg, clearly getting into parts of the hamstring that are not normally reached, so that's quite a good sign. Bit of shakes. Got the shakes. Okay, now we'll try the Hanumanasana again. If you're willing, if you have enough, don't force yourself, but otherwise, bring your right foot forwards into a lunge. Slide your left knee backwards till you feel that resistance. And then reach up with the arms. Support your body weight, or at least some of your body weight, with your arms. Pull, that's it, narrow your stance, swap it around, left foot forwards, right knee slides back, come onto the left heel, let that slide forwards. With the arms, come back onto your narrow your stance. Very, very good. I hope your hamstrings are still working after that. I warned you about not being too intense. We're going to finish with just a little seated meditation. So you might want to bring your swing down if possible. Bring your swing down another couple of notch on each side. Use a blanket or a block to sit on, unless your hips are very open. And you're going to come into your cross-leg position, and you're going to put your swing, arms through the swing. So the idea here is that the swing just helps you to remain in a sort of a relaxed, upright position. Just gives you a little kind of helping hand from behind you. So here we are. In your supported upright position, cross-leg position. Once you've got yourself comfortable, just do a little bit of guided relaxation, final few minutes. So I want you to touch your index finger, tip of your index finger to the tip of your thumb. Rest the back of the hand on the side of the knees. The other three fingers are just softly extending. So they're not curled, they're extending. You can feel the swing supporting the back of your body. As you breathe in, feel the back of your body pressing into the swing material. Feel the back of the ribs opening into the swing material. This just helps you to be aware of your breathing. And awareness of the breathing will often slow the breathing down. Also be aware of the way the swing comes underneath the arms and it wraps across the front of the shoulders. And as you breathe in, you can be aware of your body expanding to the side. You can be aware of the shoulders rolling out. So the contact with the swing just makes it easier for you to be aware of this feeling of your breath. And that's the crucial thing, just to be aware of your breathing, not trying to do anything with it, it's just being aware of the breath. I want you to be aware of the hips. So the hips, the outside of the thighs, the buttocks, everywhere that you're making contact, the ankles, everywhere that you're making contact with the ground. And I want you to focus on the point where your body contacts the ground. The interface between your body and the ground, the earth. So the leg practice is a great thing to do. At this time they're very settling. They give a very settling effect emotionally and mentally. So I want you to feel as though your legs are now dissolving into the earth, into the ground. So where you contact the ground, you're merging with this feeling. Particularly as you exhale. So as you exhale, merging with the ground, merging with the feeling. you to imagine like a root network, a network of roots leaving your base, so the base of your body, and growing into the ground beneath you. So growing and spreading and reaching downwards, connecting you, making you feel safe, making you feel connected and secure and stable, strong. So you're not this separate little thing, you're connected to something far greater than your personality. You're connected to life, you're a part of life. When you do the yoga practice like this, you enhance your life force. You strengthen the connection with life. When you're aware of your breathing, when you get out of the stress response, all the systems of the body work more naturally, you are supporting life by being aware of your breath. And not just your own life, the life of everybody that you come into contact with today will be enhanced because you are more relaxed, you are more at ease than you would have been if you didn't take some time for yourself. Yes, I want to congratulate you all. On this we're going to do a final little Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So when you bring yourself around slowly out of that, you can bring your palms together at the center of your chest and take a deep breath. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Very good. Invisible class. I'm still finding it a bit unusual, not being able to see people that I'm taking to a lesson, but I'm sure we'll get used to it. Any feedback that you can give, any suggestions for classes, I'm very open to suggestions for classes or sequences or topics. Send us a message so we can do that. We're going to continue to do this every Thursday for the foreseeable future, so I look forward to once not seeing you. I look forward to not seeing you again sometime in the future. Okay. Thank you, and take care. Have a good day. Thank you.